Whatever you do, always stay in the light. These are the most important words you'll ever hear in Those Who Remain.
Why does my heart go on beating? Why do these eyes of mine cry? Don't they know it's the end of the world? End of the world. Stay in the light.
Now, this is a game that I wasn't originally planning on making a video about, but after going for all the achievements, making me go through the game 4 times in a row, I figured it would be a shame not to make something out of the time that I spent with this game. So, what is Those Who Remain? Well, it's a first person psychological horror game released in 2019. The game sees you progressing through levels, solving puzzles, avoiding monsters, and making decisions to uncover the story. The gimmick of this game is that you can only be in the light. The darkness is filled with these shadow looking people that kill you as soon as you get close. So, the idea behind a lot of the puzzles is that you need to figure out a way to light up every area that you wish to traverse through. The puzzles usually only boil down to finding items to open doors to turn on a light switch and variations of that. The game also has a Silent Hill-like mechanic where you travel back and forth between 2 different dimensions to solve puzzles. One area might be accessible in one dimension, but not the other. However, these puzzles are not the game's strong suit, nor do they really attempt to be. They serve more as just a way to interact with the game to keep it from being a walking simulator. Where the game really shines is its story. There are sort of 2 stories going on at once, one being significantly more in-depth and interesting than the other. The first story has to do with our main protagonist. A couple years back, he was in a car accident leading to the woman in the other car dying. Our protagonists have been plagued by this event ever since, and in the game, the woman comes back as a monster to symbolize his guilt. It's a very basic concept that has been done much better by much better games in the past, so I won't bother going too in depth into it because it really isn't all that interesting. Though the really interesting story has to do with a demon and the death of a young girl. A while back, a 13-year-old girl named Annika and her mother moved into a new town. Annika was unfortunately bullied by a group of kids, and one day these kids took one of their quote-unquote pranks a little too far and cut the brakes of her bicycle. This led to Annika crashing down a cliff, plummeting towards her death. The parents of these kids all helped cover up the murder using their various positions in the town in an attempt to save their own children. Annika's mother, being distraught, ends up summoning a demon, as you do, and this demon offers her revenge. But the interesting thing about this demon is that while it enjoys punishing the guilty, it never passes judgment itself. Instead, always leaves the decision up to someone else whether the person deserves to be condemned or forgiven. As you can probably guess, our main protagonist ends up being said person. So every level you traverse, you end up learning about the person who covered up the murder, how things played out from their perspective, and the reasons for them doing as they did. At the end of the level, letting you pass judgment on said person. Depending on what choices you end up making, you will receive one of three endings. But just as with Do You Copy, I don't want to spoil for you what these endings might be. Instead, I encourage you to play the game for yourself and discover how the story ends for you in Those Who Remain.